4Runner, Tacoma, FJ Cruiser owners, this video is for you. This is the video debut of Axel Fabrication's rear lower links. I'm going to be explaining every detail on them the best I can. I've been involved in the Toyota off-road and serious overlanding realm for quite a while now. And frankly, when it comes to suspension components, nothing has really excited me lately. There hasn't been anything really innovative to come onto the market in a long time, until now. Now I know that my friend Lars over at Axel Fabrications has been working on the design of these links for a long time, and now they're finally hitting the market. I put a link down in the video description to Axel Fabrication's social media sites. Through them, you can get a hold of them and ask them questions about these that I forget to mention or fail to cover in this video. Now, if these appeal to you, my advice, get your order in quick, because I think that these are going to be under high demand. All right, let's go through the particulars on these. 1.5" OD tubing. It's a lot bigger than the stock ones. Pretty sure this is chrome moly tubing. Don't quote me on that, but I know it's a heck of a lot stronger than these weak stock ones. This one here is even bent a little bit. This came off our 4Runner. I'm sure the first thing that caught your eye is this bend right here. Now, as you probably already know, on our Toyotas, there's a bit of a binding or a pinch point in the lower links at the rear mount on the axle. As the axle drops, it hits the bracket that this bolts onto, limiting your down travel. Most manufacturers will take this eye and kind of offset it a little bit so that so the bar comes in towards the bottom of the eye. There's some controversy about this, but it's a belief that that's a weaker joint than if it were to go straight into this bar. So what Axel Fabrications came up with is this bend. Instead of having an offset, go straight into the eye, and this will completely eliminate that binding or hitting that bracket at full drop. In fact, it's going to drop so much with this that you're going to need to be careful that the springs don't come out. Just my belief. Also on these, you'll notice that there's an adjustment only on one end. Adjustable rod ends like these are a trouble point. If they're not maintained and checked often, these threads tend to wear out. They constantly go up and down, or forward and rear, I guess, and they finally wear out over time if you don't maintain this and make sure this lock nut is fastened down tight. So to eliminate half the problem, they eliminated half the adjustable ends. I think that's a good idea. You may also notice that these are not your traditional Heim joints. I don't like Heim joints in suspension components at all. These are what's called a Johnny joint. Now, over many years, I've heard some people say that Johnny joints are the same as Heim joints. They are not. On a Johnny joint, the ball itself is it rides on, I believe it's a urethane type of socket in there. A Heim joint is metal on metal typically. So similar, but very different. And that's a big thing here in the northern climates where we use road salt, or even in a very dusty environment where dust and sand can get in here. Heim joints wear out really quick. I've had them on sway bar links and they're junk. If you are worried about this exposed ball on the joint, there is a provision to put a rubber seal on here. Talk to him through that link I provided down below and see the particulars on that. I think that would be a good addition to these. Now, everything wears out eventually, and when these do, they are completely rebuildable. Take out this snap ring right here, this all comes out, you just put the new components in, bada bing, bada boom, brand new again. And these are greasable. And if you notice, these grease certs are put in at a particular angle. This way you can actually get a grease gun on them. I have a set of lower control arms on the 4Runner that have greasable lower ball joints. And one of the grease certs you can get a grease gun on. The other one, at the factory, they did not put it in properly and angle it the way it's supposed to be. So it is a real chore to get grease into that ball joint. But these are perfect. You can see I line it up, same exact angle. They put it in a jig to get that specific angle of those grease certs. That's a nice detail. Axel Fab recommends using a non-synthetic high moly lube in these. And they also said you can over-grease these, so be very careful about how much grease you put in, just a pump or two every now and then. When you very start to see it coming out the edge, stop. Something else I know you have noticed on these is this sacrificial bar that's welded onto the bottom. This is solid chrome moly, TIG welded. Everything is TIG welded, as you can see. Anybody can MIG weld. It takes a real craftsman to get a nice TIG weld, and TIG welds are much stronger. Now this will take all the abuse right here. This is what's going to ride over the rocks, and it gives a heck of a lot of support to the main tubing. Now it is possible to replace this. You just cut and grind off these welds, put a new piece on, but let's be honest, if you wear down through this rod, you, my friend, are a legend. The bracket for the handbrake cable is set much higher than stock. That will do two things. It gets the cable up out of the way further, and it also reduce or eliminate the stretching of that cable at full drop. And on the back side, as you can see, there's a flange nut that's TIG welded onto the bracket. Onto the other end is really nice, durable poly bushings. These are a standard size and easily replaceable. They do also take the stock bolts, unless of course in the front mount you have a heavy duty bracket, then you'll have to go with a little bit longer bolt. Something you may be asking yourself is why two different ends? Why a poly bushing up here and a Johnny joint down here at the end? Well, a lot of manufacturers, and I've got a pair on our 4Runner right now, a lot of them will put poly bushings in the front and the rear joint. That's bad. These poly bushings do not flex enough at the rear joint. We're having a heck of a time with ours. They squeeze out and deform and rip up. We're on our third set of poly bushings in the rear right now, and that's only within like a 2-year span. Another reason why you don't want poly bushings front and back is probably the most important. Again, poly bushings do not flex enough. And at the rear, where you're flexing, that axle's going like this, there is not enough deflection in a poly bushing back here at this rear mount. And it will bend your bracket on your axle eventually. Ours are seeing big signs of bending and getting out of shape in the back. So that's where this Johnny joint is really necessary. Now the distance from mounting bolt to mounting bolt is set at the Axel Fab factory to the exact length of a stock arm. If you don't want to mess around with measuring your pinion angle and all that, you can just bolt these right on and they'll be pretty darn close to where you need them. As far as finishes go, yours are not going to look like this. These are done in a clear powder coating because Lars, my buddy, he knows that I really dig looking at his TIG welds, so he left these clear just for me and a couple other prototypes he's made. Yours will come with what's called a Cerakote paint. It's like a ceramic infused paint, and he'll do it up, I believe standard is black, I think also gray. Ask him about that though. And that's a real durable finish. I think that powder coating is way overkill for something like this. I mean, you're going to be hitting stuff with it. Don't spend a lot of money on a powder coat, just spray paint. Now we will be putting these on our 4Runner in a future episode. We'll be checking the pinion angle and adjusting this properly, but that's going to be down the road a little bit. Right now I've got the shop full of other stupid projects I have to get finished up. But yeah, go to that link down in the video description. Go talk to Lars at Axel Fab about more particulars on these. And if you like this video, hit that like button, and we hope you consider subscribing to our channel. Thanks for watching.